Sasha, cut my music. Cut it. Cut it. Cut that shit. Cut my music, Sasha. Salute. My amplified unit. Salute. Ah. That's it. My Starbucks vanilla latte it's done, sadly. That went fast. That's what she said. To the fine folks at Starbucks, thank you. That was a delicious vanilla latte, but it's time to move on. Sasha, another coffee, please. Get me the Dunkin'. Switch them off. Starbucks, Dunkin'. Next will be the local coffee shop. You got to support your local businesses, guys. Local mom and pop coffee shops. Dunkin', please. Thank you. Thank you. Hold on, let me get another. Let me crack this coffee, guys. Smackdown 11/18/22. What can you say about this show other than in my best Ron Simmons? Damn! That was not bad, right? That was not bad. This show, did it deliver? Bruh, tenfold. Salute. To my amplified unit, because we're about to go on a wild ride. We're not used to this much positivity in a show. Don't know what to do with myself. I couldn't believe when I was writing down the notes last night. I was like, damn, am I really enjoying this show? Like, are they producing a show that I'm actually into? I'm actually interested to see what happens next with these two. I'm interested to see what develops with this situation. Hey, Survivor Series is just a little bit better after last night. I don't get to say that often. It is clear after last night, as if it wasn't abundantly obvious before, but some people refuse to admit it. I just don't know what they're watching. But it is so crystal clear after last night that SmackDown is just in another stratosphere than Monday Night Raw. SmackDown is playing in a league that Raw can't even comprehend how to play the game. No pun intended, by the way. And it's sad that we have to compare the two, but because there is no honoring the brand split anymore, wrestlers just show up to any brand, usually without any reasoning. Last night, Owen just showed up to the blue brand to join a team of Brutey when they face Team Ucey at Survivor Series. Now, I know that sounds goofy if you didn't watch the show, but BC will explain everything when we get out of the cold open and we start to review the show in just a little bit. But there is no real honoring the brand split. And let's be honest, these shows have to flow off one another. Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw, Raw to SmackDown, and it's a never-ending circle. Now, whether that circle is smooth or rough depends on WWE's bookers, the promoters, the Triple H's, the suits and ties, right? And usually, every time that circle gets to Monday Night Raw, like the sun going round and round on the fucking planets, every time that circle comes around Raw, it's a rough patch, right? It starts to fucking twitch out, starts to smoke a little bit more, and that circle enters a very rough patch, and it doesn't smooth out until there's the finish line or the next light at the end of the tunnel, which is Friday Night SmackDown. So maybe by Tuesday morning, it can start to smooth out. It sees SmackDown in the horizon, and that's when the circle starts to smooth out. Coming out of SmackDown, it's a smooth circle. Everyone's feeling good, and then we got Raw in our horizon, and then it starts to fucking twitch out again. Glitch. That's the best way I can describe Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. I hate to compare the two, but you really cannot talk about one without the other. And it's like, the best way to describe it is it's almost like it's two different companies. That's how different they are. One is so tragically bad in Monday Night Raw, to the point where you just gotta finish the job. You gotta light the match and watch the son of a bitch burn to the ground, and then try to reconstruct from the ashes. You have to rise again from those ashes, because Raw, I don't think it can be saved in its current state, sadly. And then you have SmackDown, which is just, it's such a smooth show. And it's almost like it's two different companies. It's not like it's two different brands in one company. It literally acts as if it is two different companies. One has no clue what they're doing whatsoever from top to bottom, start to finish, and the other is producing a wrestling show that is worthy of our attention and gets us excited for what's to come. And you can say it's the third hour, BC, all you want. That's not the case. It's a part of the problem, but you can't just lay it down on one extra hour of television. It's more than that. Nothing makes sense on Raw. Nothing is intriguing. The wrestlers, even the ones that we enjoy, their talent because they're so skillful, we can't enjoy what they're into, which means we can't enjoy the overall product or what they're producing. In other words, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, right? You can go down the list of a lot of individuals that we actually like. We want to see the best for them. And it's like when they come through the curtain, there's no care. There's no emotion at all. Bobby Lashley comes down. We like the dude. We want to see the best for him. There's no emotion. He sits up on his pedestal. He's doing his fucking pose down. And you ain't fucking jumping out of your seat going, oh my goodness, it's Bobby Lashley. You're not doing it. I know you're not because I gauge every fucking audience. I gauge all the crowds. Maybe you're one in a billion that's doing it on your sofa. Oh, I got Bobby Lashley. Popcorn's going all over the place. Seth Rollins! It's Seth freaking Rollins! Nobody's doing that. You know, there's two larger-than-life characters right now in WWE and all pro wrestling. You can't say that for many people. And it's Bray Wyatt and it's Roman Reigns. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, they haven't just taken WWE and put it on their backs. I mean, they're skyrocketing to new horizons that we haven't seen at least in 10 plus years. You'd have to go way back to get this type of character that is actually intriguing to the point where people are on their feet, phones plastered to the curtain, and actually excited to see somebody come through that curtain. You can't say it anymore. Ali, Ricochet, even Braun, Gunther, Rollins, Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, right? Some of them good pops, right? Drew McIntyre gets a good pop. Sheamus these days gets a good pop. Rollins, they sing his song. But it's different than being in awe, right? And you guys know what I mean about being in awe. You have to whip yourself. That's the new way of respect today. You whip your cell phone out. But you're in awe. The Undertaker is coming out. His entrance, for instance, right? And you're in awe. You get the initial loud pop. And then you're like, fuck, it's happening. And you take your fucking phone out and you're plastered to the curtain. Last night, Roman Reigns. You can go back. You don't got to take my word for it. You guys know by now, I don't bullshit you. I've already done my due diligence. I've already watched each segment more than once. But go back yourself. Listen to when Roman Reigns came down. The crowd, the pop. This is a heel, by the way. The pop. So fucking welcoming to hear, man. So awesome. Even BC was like, damn, I didn't know Roman was there. They didn't really promote Roman last night. So that was like, oh, damn. Roman's in the house. You know shit's going to hit the fan, man. This is the place to be now. It was that feeling, man. It's something that just can't be duplicated easily, or else we would have 100 of these motherfuckers. Vince never wanted to really create many stars anyway because he didn't want them to get larger than the company, because then their heads inflate so much and they start to hold Vince hostage for money and dates and you name it, man. CM Punk gave Vince a headache. Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. He didn't want to produce anybody unless it was his hand-picked dude, which was Roman Reigns. And then Roman came into work one day and said, nah, when I come back, I need to be a heel. This just isn't working, Vince. 5 years of shoving me down everybody's fucking throat, and it's not working. I'm still getting the same weird 40, 60, 60, 40, 50, 50 reaction, and your fucking response is at least it's noise. As long as they're making noise. It's a reaction. And Roman's like, I can be getting a better one. I could be conducting better business for everybody involved if I go heel. If only John Cena did that 12 different times in his run. I'm not talking about the original John Cena or Thugonomics or whatever the fuck when he had that small little heel run. before he was actually John Cena. He should have done that many times, but no, he wanted to remain Mr. Make-A-Wish, and he blocked the highway of future up-and-coming faces that could have been, maybe, larger than life. Roman did the fucking job, realistically, knowing that he was never going to be the guy as a face in the current state that Vince had him in. So he comes back as a heel, and it started off with straight fire, with the Jimmy and Jay Uso and the family feud, and I mean, this was the Roman we've been waiting for. Wins the fucking title, has a long title reign. It was going beautifully, and then, yes, I'll be the first to admit, once they put a second title on him, this undisputed shit, and then he simultaneously signed a new restructured deal where he can work less dates, BC was not, and I'm still not on board with that. I am a firm believer that working less dates will make you more desirable. It will get you more over. It'll make you more prestigious. We saw that back in the day with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan did not defend his title more than once a month if you're lucky, right? Jack Tunney used to have the 30-day rule. So Hulk Hogan had to, even if it was a fucking house show, he would show up and defend it once a month. But he would not be on every show. He would not be on every Superstars of Wrestling. Back in the day, there was no Monday Night Raw. But he would not show up on every Superstars. But he was prevalent. He would show up every other week, maybe in an interview segment, you know, and then he'd show up at the pay-per-view or a Saturday night's main event. And that's what kept him prestigious. I said, for the longest time, you need people like that. That's what makes Brock Lesnar more prestigious. The problem is they just had Brock show up literally once every 2 or 3 months sometime. That's not what I'm talking about. That's going to make people say, what the fuck are you even here for then? And with Roman, you gave him a second title, and then you said, now you can work less dates, buddy. That's not how you do this. If he had one title, okay, no harm, no foul. But when you're clogging the highway with both titles and you're working less dates, I'll be the first to admit I still have an issue with that. And as long as WrestleMania, he has 2 matches, and one of those matches he drops that title, should be to Cody Rhodes, and the other one, if it's a dream match with The Rock, Saturday night, Sunday night, WrestleMania night 1, WrestleMania night 2, then you know what? Then okay. Correct your wrongs a little bit. And the titles are finally off, and he begins a diabolical process to get them back, which could be just as fun, if not funner, there you go, that's the word, than the title reign. Sometimes the chase is more fun than the actual destination, right? The journey, way more intriguing than the destination. So even when Roman drops the titles, man, this party doesn't have to end with Roman literally putting WWE on his back. And he's not alone. Bray Wyatt right the fuck there with him. But for everybody that just bashes Roman Reigns, I get the same thing. I'll get it again in this vid, right? Paragraphs. Basically, I hear you. I disagree. He's boring. He's holding everyone hostage. He's making it to where there's no new stars. People are just being fed to him. You said it yourself, BC. People got fed to him. I don't know how else I can say this. The positives are clearly outweighing the negatives. Look at the reaction last night. People fucking in awe of this dude's presence. Cell phones out. The pop. This guy is on cloud fucking 9. Clearly they've done something right. You may not like it all you want. You may just not like Roman, period. And maybe no matter anything he does, you're not going to like. Roman Reigns is on top of the wrestling world. There's a group in AEW that calls themselves the Elite. This is no shade to them. Roman Reigns is literally the elite in pro wrestling with a guy named Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, who last night showed you again just how easily, snap of a finger, he can captivate your attention and keep you wanting and needing more. Because that's what Bray did again last night. With some supporting cast, by the way. Kevin Owens and such helped play the role to get Roman to where he was last night, and just that feeling that you're watching something special. So props to Kevin Owens. We'll talk about that in the review. And props to L.A. Knight. Let me talk to you. I mean, those guys played their role perfect last night. But it's Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt who are just in another stratosphere. SmackDown, when in terms of Monday Night Raw and comparing those two, it's not even fair anymore. Monday Night Raw cannot even keep up. They're like the younger sibling that's just trying to hang out with the older brother, and the brother's like, just get away, you ain't on my level, kid. I'm going to get laid, you're going to play with Legos. We're in two different worlds. Sorry, kid, see you when I get home. Monday Night Raw can't compete. Monday Night Raw, it's not even fair. They can't even compete with SmackDown right now. That's how much they're in another stratosphere. But skyrocketing that ship straight to that stratosphere, that's Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, just like Roman last night. You look at the entrance, look at everybody on their phones are out, not just being fireflies. They're capturing this shit. They're in awe of this motherfucker. Holy shit chants. Which Fox mutes out every fucking time, sadly, even though it's past 9 o'clock at that point. PM Eastern time. Bray Wyatt, captivating. This is what I mean. It's no longer... Guys, the best way I can describe this is if you go to school and you have friends, or you go to work, you're older, you go to work and you're talking wrestling and you got your buddies, or you're just on social, you're online and you got people trying to dispute how amazing Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt are today. The best thing you could do is just stop the conversation. Turn your back, walk away. If you're at the water fountain with your buddies at school and they're like, Bray sucks, Roman is just hogging the spotlight and nobody's gonna get over. This is horrible. Just walk away. Just walk away. You're not gonna change their minds. They're dead set that Roman bad, Bray boring. Roman sucks, Bray's bad, Bray can't wrestle. They've already made up their minds. Meanwhile, anybody with any semblance of common sense and logic, when they watch the show, they see, they hear how fucking epic and on another level these two wrestlers are. These superstars are. And you yourself, you're feeling that shit. BC, when Roman came down, I was like, damn, Roman's in the house? Fuck yeah, dude. I caught myself going, damn, am I excited to see Roman Reigns? Bray Wyatt, I always am. That's my boy. But when Bray comes down, I just put the remotes down. Lean the fuck back. Grab your fucking coffee, your beverage, and you're just going to be entertained whatever this segment's going to be. You put him with L.A. fucking Knight. Straight magic. L.A. Knight, Bray Wyatt is magic together. I'm not too shocked. This isn't shade to Triple H, but these are two dudes that were already lightning in a bottle. Bray Wyatt gets to do all of his own creative. All Vince has to do is sign off, and that's all Triple H basically does. Bray Wyatt does his own creative. H already said that. That's why he says he's kind of difficult to work with because he's always trying to, he's a perfectionist. He's always trying to improve his already great idea, and then you have to reapprove it. So Triple H has to fucking go over 10 different things to approve. That's what Vince McMahon always had to do. But Bray Wyatt does his own shit. Bray Wyatt probably handpicked L.A. Knight to work with. Who knows? And Roman Reigns was already... Roman Reigns does not need any approval by Triple H. Roman Reigns is just doing his shit. It's almost like Roman Reigns is signing off on what he wants to do. So my point is, it's not shade to Triple H. It's actually he gets to put his mind on other things because he already knows these two things, they're taken care of. Bray and Roman, you do not have to worry about. And it's amazing how many people still try to act or convince themselves that Roman Reigns is trash or he's just hurting the business. And it's just false. I totally agree. Again, I don't like the two titles on him and working less dates. But let's not act like the less dates are not making him more prestigious. And the matches, the concept of even somebody like Logan Paul is not intriguing, right? A lot of people fucking were up in arms. How the hell's Logan Paul doing? This is stupid. And coming out of Crown Jewel, it was the talk of the wrestling world, how good it was. And Roman Reigns does that often. Everything Roman does, you look at the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks alone, everything that Roman Reigns does, whether it's the crown jewel match with Logan Paul being the talk of the wrestling world, showing up last night when it wasn't heavily publicized that he was going to be showing up. It wasn't marketed. It wasn't advertised. And the crowd just like erupted. And it added another level of intrigue and suspense to that show, man, where even BC was like, oh, business just picked up. Good old JR right now is on his couch going, business just picked up. By God, he's broken in half. Business picked up when Roman came down. This guy is just, I mean, look, the Sami Zayn shit, breaking character a couple of weeks ago. And everybody kind of let loose a little bit. It was like an SNL skit when it's so funny that they just break character a little bit and they laugh. Usually I say that's horrible for pro wrestling. Kayfabe is everything. And I still say that. And it's needed. It's a lost art. Everybody just threw kayfabe into the fucking river without a paddle. No canoe. They just watched kayfabe drown. But that was an epic moment where that fit the moment where everybody just kind of laughed. Roman set the stage for that, man. The Usos were trying to hold it in, and Roman's he's got that grin, and everybody knew, okay, let's just roll with this. My point is, Roman is on fire right now, and it's unlike anything we've seen in the pro wrestling world in a very long time. So for people to keep it, and I get it all the time. Anytime I speak positively of Roman, I get people on the channel, right, comment, I hear you, BC, much love and respect, but I disagree. Roman's horrible for the following reasons, and they write paragraphs. And I don't even fucking read them. There's no time, first of all, but I would never read them anymore. It's bullshit. They're creating their own narrative because I know what I watched and heard last night. I know how I felt and so many people felt when Roman came down there. They're doing a lot more right than wrong, clearly. It's working. It's fun. People that he's working with are getting fucking time and getting over, like Logan fucking Paul. That's what he does. Roman Reigns constantly puts on good matches. It's not like we ever talk about a Roman match that's bad. Unless it's the same redundancy like a Brock Lesnar Roman match for the 86th time. I'm not saying he's not had bad matches. But every time we talk about Roman consistently, he's putting on fucking good matches. It's what he does. He's checking off every fucking box and he just keeps getting better on the fucking mic, not needing Paul Heyman per se. And Bray Wyatt, I don't even need to sell this guy. He's on top of the wrestling world, but he already was. His main thing that I agree with a lot of you guys was booking him in the big matches, as I said a million times before. Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton, WrestleMania, Goldberg, Saudi, Super Showdown. Yeah, those matches he should have never lost, and he should have never lost the way that he did, and that hurt Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, or any variation of Bray Wyatt. I totally admit that. But his booking was always top-notch. Even the Firefly Funhouse, whether you liked it or not, didn't matter. The metrics all said he was number one. The ratings were number one. The merchandise was never number one. The tube videos, number one. In viewership, everything was number one with Bray Wyatt. That's when I say he's on fire. It's not my opinion. I love Sasha Banks. I think she's the best female wrestler in the world. Some of you guys may go, not necessarily. It's like, that's fine. You may not even like Sasha Banks. You may love an individual, a pro wrestler that BC just doesn't see anything in. We all have our likes and dislikes, who we think is good, who we think is not. We all have those. That's fine. And we can disagree. We can have conversations. And then there's times where we all have to be realistic and honest. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns have WWE on their back right now. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns are super over. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns are, dare I say, larger than life characters. I always said to you guys, you know when you're starting to get larger than life, when everybody jumps out of their seat when your music hits, and then they go into awe mode. Phones out, and their jaws dropped. You're in the presence of greatness. Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns are the real elite in professional wrestling, and that's no shade over to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. But when you talk real elite, MJF, it's another company, but MJF is in that circle as well. Elite. Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, MJF. Maybe you guys have one or two more individuals that we could throw in there, but they're elite. It's not an opinion anymore. And that's why it's just goofy every time I see somebody try to argue that in the it doesn't even get read anymore. If it's so stupid, I can't even have it on the channel, because there's one thing to just disagree, which is always welcomed. If you're disrespectful, it will never make the fucking page. It'll just be booted, and you will be. That's never even tolerated. Zero tolerance policy on disrespect, but you can always disagree. But if it's to a level that I've already gone over the facts, and people are just refusing to even acknowledge the facts, and they're just going into their own narrative, I won't even have that on the channel, man, because it's filling the wall with stupidity. And you guys know one of my rules. Right up there. There's no stupid people beyond this point, which is the amplified channel. I can't deal with stupidity. And it's not fair to the amplified unit that's going through the comments, and they're just seeing regurgitation of falsities. Yeah, I can't have that, man. You know, we have to start talking about the facts. Last night, I mean, the reactions, the way that they made you feel, Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, they have to get the flowers now, man. You've been fucking hiding those flowers away. You've been denying them their flowers after last night and the reaction that they got. What they did for that show. What they did for World Wrestling Entertainment at a time where they needed the most, going into the Survivor Series where a card was not even close to being filled. Flowers. Give them the whole flower shop. BC is giving them the keys to the flower shop. They get a whole flower shop. That was almost a half an hour of a cold open, but I'm just so I was so happy with the way that SmackDown was produced last night. That's right, BC's talking positively. Oh my guys, has hell frozen over? I was happy with the show, and I just, man, I already told you guys Roman and Bray are on another level. But after last night, it's like they keep going, they keep getting better and better. Their performances are just, they're just in that zone. And it's just a zone you don't see often. But when it happens, it's magic. Stone Cold in his zone. The Rock in his zone. Warrior was always in a zone. Savage was always in a zone. Ric Flair lived in a zone. Roddy Piper lived in a zone. And you can't say that about a lot of people. I would say about maybe 15 individuals in the history of pro wrestling in the near 40 years I've been fucking viewing it. Near, let's not go overboard. Ain't that old, buddy. But near 40 years that I've been watching this, which was fucking literally basically out of the womb. BC's been watching pro wrestling. I can give you maybe 15 wrestlers that just lived in the zone. It's magic. And it's so awesome to see. So we could talk about all the negatives of Bray Wyatt, all the negatives of Roman, all you want. I'm done with it. I'm done to even talk about it. This is fucking epic what we are watching. And if you just give them an inkling of decent booking, they're going to turn it into great. And that's what's magic about these motherfuckers. And with Bray, he just found magic with LA Knight. I mean, that's just, I bet you he handpicked that first opponent. LA Knight's fine with this, by the way. He's gonna lose. That he has to lose. And he's going to gain victory in defeat. Trust me. This is already starting off to be a kick-ass fucking storyline that BC is so intrigued to see where it goes next already. I'm already waiting for Friday. And that's a feeling I used to get back in the day and I haven't had in over 10 years. Where you actually needed to see what happens next week. Not just wanted to even. You needed to see what happens next with LA Knight and Bray. What am I talking about? I enjoyed this show. Did you really enjoy it that much, BC? I did. So let's get into it. And at first, I didn't think, the first minute, the first 90 seconds, I was already ready to put my dome piece to a brick wall. But it quickly turned around. So let's get into the review. That's about a half an hour of a cold open. Let me give another salute to my assistant, Sasha. To my amplified unit. Salute. Let's get this in, man. 11/18/22, 1 week away from Survivor Series. This SmackDown rejuvenated my love for professional wrestling. Because for weeks and months especially, I was like, damn, I'm not seeing much change at all with Paul Levesque. I'm really not. I see all the little things, right? He's bringing people back. He's giving names back. There's semblances of some storylines, right? I said from day one, it's a little better than Vince, thankfully. but it's just nowhere near. And people said, no, it's going to take time, BC. It's going to take time. Give it till WrestleMania, right? Some people are like, give it a year or two, BC. You're going to start to see real... I'm like, guys, I don't have that anymore, man. We've seen such a bad product for 10 years. You have to come in on day one and start fucking tackling the major issues. You have to. You have to. And so far, months into it now. November, he started at the end of July. August, September, October. Okay, so 5 months in. There's not the change that BC thought was going to happen at all. And I was really starting to lose the last little bit of hope. And then last night happened. And I just there was several times last night where I was just like, fuck yeah. Edge of the seat. Like, oh shit, I got to see what, oh no, don't end this segment, man. I want more. I want more. Literally, BC wanted more. I can't remember the last time that I wanted more out of a segment or a situation or a feud, and I did it several times last night, which we're going to go over. So anyway, salute, let's do this. The show starts with no pyro, just the old school VKM intro with a shot of the crowd and Cole welcoming us to SmackDown, and then immediately plugging a car insurance sponsorship, bro. No pyro. Cameras are zooming in. Half the crowd doesn't even know they're live because there was no pyro or nothing. They probably just got a countdown by the ring announcer, Mrs. Ricochet. And half the crowd's like, yeah, are we live? Teddy, why is there a camera on us? Are we live? Is it 8 o'clock? And then Michael Cole's like, welcome to SmackDown. If you need car insurance, get me. And I'm like, what are we doing here? It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it? Quickly turned around, though. And I'm not even going to rip 3 H's for this. The lack of no pyro. I'm not even going to rip 3 H's. I'm pretty sure the pyro budget for the rest of 2022 was spent on Crown Jewel last weekend. If you saw Crown Jewel, you knew you were not going to see pyro for the rest of the year. Triple H showed up to work today. He's like, there's no pyro? Mr. Levesque, you're in debt with pyro till April of next year. Are we going to have it for WrestleMania? Barely, sir. Anyway, Sheamus, the Brawling Brutes, and Drew McIntyre are middle of the ring. Sheamus asks Drew if he'd be the 4th Brutey because the crowd's chanting Ucey, and Sheamus goes, well, we're not feeling Ucey, but we're feeling mighty Brutey. I'm like, Brutey? Ucey, Brutey? BC's like, things are getting fruity. Or goofy. We'll stick with goofy. Poet and didn't know it. So he asks Drew if he'd be the 4th Brutey and for War Games, and Drew accepts. Drew's laughing. He's like, Drew McIntyre's laughing his ass off. He's like, did you just say Brutey? I don't know if this was supposed to be pre-planned or not. I don't know. But Sheamus rolled with it. Sheamus is like, yeah, that's right. I said Brutey. Drew can't keep a straight face. It was beautiful. So he accepts being the 4th Brutey. Sheamus goes to introduce the 5th member of the team, the 5th Brutey, but Sami Zayn interrupts. Sami Zayn is at the top of the ramp, the entranceway. Sami says he and the Bloodline are feeling Ucey, and they don't care who the 5th man is. Sheamus says when you find out who it is, you're going to crap your pants because you're never going to expect it. Right there, automatically, that put Kevin Owens in the front running. We know that he had the injury, and we know that he was going to make the towns this week. BC told you that in the latest report that I put out. I think it was, just yesterday. I told you guys that he was going to make SmackDown. It was going to be interesting to see if they include him into War Games fresh off of an injury. Well, there's your answer. We knew right from the jump that they were teasing when he said, you're not going to expect it. You're going to crap your pants. It's almost like somebody with a deep connection with Sami Zayn. We kind of knew it was going to be Owens. We'll get to that later in the night. But it's a good way, man. You didn't move mountains at the front. I always tell you guys that the start of the show is just as important as the end of the show, right? The end of the show, you want to have that cliffhanger. That's going to make people need to tune in next week, not just want to. The start of the show, you need to make people put the remote control down. You need to make them need to watch the rest of the show so you can get to the cliffhanger at the end, right? Not just want to watch the rest or flick back and forth with their other favorite show. No, that's your chance at the start of the show to make them put that remote down. The start of the show keeps people interested. This was not moving mountains. This was nothing fucking amazing you had to see per se. But it's enough to keep your interest going. It's enough to keep the hamster spinning upstairs in the dome piece, right? That hamster is spinning on the wheel because now you're thinking, okay, they're going to introduce the 5th member tonight. Who is it? Is it who we think? Is it going to be Owens? And how is that interaction going to be, right? There's going to be that unveiling later in the night. The start of the show set that up for the end. That's what a television show should do. Any show, sitcom, hour-long drama, sporting-themed, performance-based, it doesn't matter. If it's a show, the start of the show should make you want to tune in for the rest of the show. What a crazy concept. And at the end, cliffhanger, so you got to come back the next week to watch the next episode. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. Far too long. Shows just start with like 2 people already in the ring and there's a match. Wow, this is amazing. Can't wait to watch the rest of the fucking 2 hours or 3 hours. You know, or we just have this weird fucking promo segment where another guy comes out and then 2 more come out and we have an impromptu tag match after commercial. It's all so stale and formulaic in pro wrestling these days. Any company. Just give people a reason that they have to tune in the rest of the show. There's going to be an unveiling. We're going to bring out the 5th. That's good. I'm not asking you to move mountains, bro. I'm just asking you to give me a reason to keep tuning in and not fall asleep over the course of the next 2 hours. So I didn't mind that opening segment at all. Then we went into a World Cup tourney match. Ricochet versus Ali. This was an 11-minute match, and it was damn good. Shouldn't shock too many people. I mean, of course, you're going to get all the action. It's Ali and Ricochet. They faced one another so many times in the past. But this was by far and large BC's favorite match for them. For sure. This was my favorite match that they were in together. They didn't just do their flippities. They included a lot of selling. If this was just a flips and dives type of a match, take it or leave it, I can absolutely leave it, guys. I'm not even joking. Like, I've seen so many just full of action, no selling type of matches that's not pro wrestling to BC. What they did last night, guys, they sold. There was a lot of selling in this match, even though they were still getting in all the flips and dives. They sold it. They took moments and time and breaths. What a crazy concept, to actually make it look like you're feeling the effects of these devastating moves. We don't see that anymore, man. It was good to see. In fact, the whole story within the match was Ali is in no condition to compete because of the ass whooping he received Monday from Bobby Lashley. So his ribs were all busted up and they were bandaged up, and the whole match, like, Ricochet is trying to tell him, dude, you don't got to do this. You don't got to prove this to anybody. And Ali's playing the Rudy character, you know, like, no matter what, I may not be the biggest, I may not be the best, but I got the biggest heart. You know, if you ever seen the movie Rudy, the Notre Dame football player who just didn't have a speck of athleticism. He was barely 5 feet tall. I don't even think he was, actually. Who knows? But he made it onto a Notre Dame football field, and he got to play a couple of plays, sacked the quarterback, and got carried off the football field. So Ali is kind of like that character, and they were selling those ribs the whole time. And just everything, man. Every move that was made, even when Ricochet would take some moves. You know, Ricochet gave it that breath that is needed for people like BC to believe in what I am watching. Ricochet ends up beating Ali via pinfall. I believe it was a shooting star. I missed it in the notes, but going back, trying to recollect my thoughts, I believe it was a shooting star, and Ricochet is able to defeat Ali. Ali saves face, though, because he does look like that warrior who laid it all out on the field. So there's no real losers in this situation. But minor details, Ricochet does move on in this tournament and could possibly get a title shot against Gunther. So I guess there is a winner and a loser. But in the grand scheme of it all, man, Ali gains more than he lost last night in defeat. And Ricochet will move on to take on Braun Strowman in this tournament. In fact, later in the second hour, I'll just go over this real quick, right? Did I even put that up in the... Did I put that, or was that later? Hold on. Well, I'll go over it now. There was a backstage segment. Oh, it was when Braun Strowman actually... Well, I'll just say it now. Maybe I'll say it again later. But Braun Strowman was in a 6-man tag match, and when he came back after the match, Braun Strowman, after he was done coughing up a fucking lung, by the way, I don't know what the fuck, give the dude some fucking Dayquil or NyQuil, some shit. Give him some cough medicine, man. But after he was done doing that, he was telling Kayla Braxton how he's going to, defeat Gunther and come for his championship. And Ricochet showed up, and he's like, what did he say, man? He said, Ricochet enters frame and says, you keep looking past us flippity flippers, your words, not mine, he says, and you're going to get caught off guard. So they actually used the social media war between Ali and Braun Strowman and so many others. They had Ricochet show up backstage and actually confront Braun Strowman about it. You keep looking past us flippity flippers, you're going to get caught off guard. And I like that. And Braun just looks over like, this again? I actually like that, man. So, Ricochet moves on. Ali doesn't lose too much from this loss. And BC, man, Ricochet, Ali, you told me this match was going to happen last week, right? That's what WWE did. I can care less about this fucking tournament. I'd rather have Gunther come to the terms of a #1 contender by having a meaningful story develop, not a fucking weeks-long tournament. We see too many tournaments, and it's an easy, lazy way for WWE just to come up with a #1 contender or a champion or crown a stupid title like Best in the World or World Cup winner. It's tournaments are just overused. And they're talking about bringing King of the Ring back next year. Well, if you keep overusing these tournaments, King of the Ring will not have the prestige that it once did. I'd rather have storylines develop and a #1 contender and a challenger, or the challenger who is the #1 contender for that champion. There's a real beef and an animosity that you have to see at the pay-per-view. The title at that point should be like the cherry on top. But you got to see the culmination of the feud. We're really not doing that. So last week I heard about the tournament. I hear it's going to be Ali and Ricochet. I've seen them wrestle 1,000 fucking times. There's nothing more I need to see. This was the first time I've seen a match like this where they let it breathe. They sold. A story was told in the match and within the 11 minutes that they were given. Maybe it's because they were given the 11 minutes. We do know, and I'll give credit where it's due. Triple H has given many matches a few extra minutes. Sometimes that doesn't matter at all. Sometimes it matters, like this. My point is, they went in there and they did the deed, and BC was entertained the entire 11 minutes. I usually don't say that about a lot of flippity-dippity diver matches. I really don't. Not that I don't respect the dudes. Not that I don't mind some sequences that have flippity-dippity dives. It's just that there's usually no in-ring psychology, no good selling, sometimes not at all. And usually you're not telling any type of a story because everybody is just getting up to their feet to do their next move, setting up for somebody else's move. One nonstop sequence after another. I can't keep up with that shit. That's not pro wrestling to me. Ricochet and Ali, this was different, bro. This match, so fucking smooth. I could have went another 6, 7, 10 more minutes with this match, and I would have been intrigued by it. I mean that tenfold. And if you watch this channel tried and true faithfully, I don't say that often, especially about two dudes like Ali and Ricochet. We know their talent. It's just, there's no care connected to them. Last night there was. Can't speak enough positivity about that, but we do have to move on. There was more show, man. Madcap Moss versus Karrion Kross. Moss got some pre-match advice from girlfriend Emma backstage. Now, normally BC would say Emma is enough motivation to beat anyone on that roster. Or in that ring, I should say, right? Emma is enough motivation. Just thinking about Emma, I'm slurring my fucking words. I was not hanging out with Ric Flair last night. Emma is usually enough motivation. However, Karrion Kross has Scarlett Bordeaux as his motivation. And Scarlett Bordeaux is so hot that she could start a fire in your freezer. That's pretty hot. Scarlett Bordeaux, man, that's just another level. Kross defeats Moss in roughly 4 minutes via cross jacket. Post-match, Emma hits the ring to check on her man. How dare you do that dirty to my man, she says. Emma's looking at Sky. I don't know. Are they going to set up a mixed tag? Emma and Madcap versus Karrion and Scarlett. Is that what we're doing? I'll watch it. That's cool with me. I thought the next kind of interchangeable fucking matchup with the female male was going to be like an Edge Beth Phoenix versus like Rhea Ripley and Damian, or Rhea and Finn, or something like that. But it looks like they're going kind of with this. All right. I'm okay with it. Again, this didn't take too much time. And I don't know what Madcap gains from this other than he gets Emma as a girlfriend. On air, off air. I mean, I guess that's a consolation prize. But Karrion Kross and Scarlett, they're the ones coming out of this looking like $1 million. Hour number one and hour number one ends. Hour number two begins with Bray motherfucking Wyatt, guys. He wants to apologize to LA Knight. I gotta get a swig because this is just the segment of the night, easily. One of the best segments I've seen in a long time, actually, in WWE, and it's short and sweet, actually. So he wants to apologize to LA Knight. I'm going to try to not even go over what I have in my notes. I'm just going to try to, just as I remember it, tell you guys directly to camera. So he asks LA Knight to come out. LA Knight comes to the ring, or he slowly makes his way. And he's timid, right? He tells Bray, I like to think that you respect me because you know that I didn't fear you last week. But you could tell that he's still kind of fearing him. I mean, he's in no hurry to enter that ring. And he's also very hesitant to believe that Bray just wants to apologize. So he's getting in the ring, and he's basically saying, you want to apologize. Okay, you want to apologize. You want to apologize. And he gets up to him, and he smacks Bray in the face. And he runs out of the ring real quick. There you go. And it was so believable, the way that LA Knight did this, guys. It was beyond believable. It was like, you just believe that that's exactly how he would react if doing somebody dirty like that and smacking him in the face. But you know this dude could probably snap your fucking neck, so you wanna just get out of the ring real quick. And he's like, no, big boy, no more, no, big boy, we're even now. We're even now, right? Big man, we're even now, right? Eye for an eye, 1 for 1. All right, you got me, I got you. We're even, okay? Okay? He's trying to like plead with him a little bit, you know? Let's make a deal. You got me, I got you. No retaliation, no nothing. You're not going to come from... That's it. We're even, right? And I loved it, man. Bray is like holding back his fucking frustration, and he literally gets on the mic and Bray says, I am really trying so hard right now. I'm holding back bad things I want to do to you. Like, I want to fuck you up. I'm holding it back. He says, all right. I got you, you got me, we're even. And he extends his hand as that olive branch to make it official. I got you, you got me. Okay. And LA Knight is hesitant. He's back on the ring apron. He's hesitant. He doesn't believe it. And Bray says, what you do next will affect the entire rest of your life. And the way he said it was just fucking beautiful. It's a paraphrase, but it was basically word for word. Maybe slightly different, but he literally looked right at LA Knight and he said, what you do next will affect the rest of your life. And I was like, this is fucking epic, bro. You can have... What the fuck are we watching? This is better than any fucking show at this point. I can't believe I'm saying that about a Smackdown, a WWE product. But this, I mean, I'm captivated fully, as I usually am with Bray. But this was on another level, bro. And LA Knight, the ball's in his court. Just shake his hand and run away, bro, and hope that Bray never has to fucking... never cross paths with Bray Wyatt again. Uncle fucking Howdy, the Fiend, Rambling Rabbit, fucking Huskus the Pig... Abby the Witch, I don't give a fuck anything associated with Bray. Alexa Bliss, do not walk by anybody and hope that you never get fucked up by Bray Wyatt, right? Just shake his hand and just run off into the sunset. And be thankful that you still have fucking both legs and you can move. No. LA Knight smacks the shit out of Bray Wyatt a second time. Jumps off the apron and just starts yelling to Bray, that's how I do it. That's how I roll. You get me 1, I get you 2. 2-1, big man. 2-1. That's how LA Knight does it. And he's talking that shit. And Bray just drops to his fucking knees, clings to that second rope, his fucking head, like, in between the top rope and the second rope. And he is holding back. I believe I put it up on the thumbnail. That's the photo of how he was grilling, looking at LA Knight. Like, there's a bad moon arising, buddy. There's a bad moon arising for you. And LA Knight, I think he knew immediately he done fucked up. Backstage, a segment or two later, he was trying to run away from Caleb Braxton. Looked like he was going outside. There was a mysterious mask. I don't know if you guys caught this. BC did. There is photos of it. While LA Knight was trying to run away and telling Caleb Braxton, you know, kind of why he did what he did, when he opens the door, there's a mask. A mysterious man with a mask is waiting for him. And he takes off out that door. We go to commercial. When we came back from commercial break, LA Knight was absolutely, he looked like he was fucking dead. Like backstage. Literally, he was on his face. I mean, not moving, no twitch, nothing. Nothing. He was engulfed in, he was underneath like a plethora of debris, lighting fixtures, equipment. The dude just looked like he just got ran over by a monster truck and then had a whole fucking tower of shit land on him afterwards. I mean, LA Knight got fucked up when we came. So again, we went to break with LA Knight running away, but there was a mysterious masked man waiting for him. And we came back from break, LA Knight was basically dead. I mean, intriguing to another fucking level, bro. And it's Bray Wyatt. It's what he does time after time. This is why I say we can always have disagreements, but it's gotten to the point where when people say things about Bray, he's boring, he can't wrestle, he doesn't do it for me, he's overrated, this and that. It's literally turn the other way type of a conversation. It's not a conversation. It's a you and yourself conversation at this point. I literally have no time to try to sell people on how amazing Bray is. I know the facts. It's not just, that's my boy because I like him. He's amazing because factually all the metrics tell you he's number one. And he keeps intriguing somebody like BC even more and more somehow. Just when you think one dude cannot consistently put together one epic segment after another, he consistently keeps doing it. I go back to a couple of WrestleManias ago when he took on Orton, unfortunately lost, booking botch there by McMahon. The biggest moment of the night, the biggest awe-inspiring moment was actually Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss. Alexa was up on the Jack in the Box and he's looking at Bray. Bray's looking at Alexa. Holy shit chants. Holy shit. Holy shit. Tens of thousands of people chanting that in awe, on their feet, phones out. There was no moment like that in that WrestleMania, both nights. I mean, this is just what this dude does. He captivates. Yet again, I can't even fucking believe something like that. And you just put, it helps when you got somebody like LA Knight, right? It's just magic. So you got somebody like Bray doing this, and then you got somebody that is fucking amazing like LA Knight. And you just sit back and you watch lightning in a bottle. And that lightning will become so electric, that bottle is going to fucking burst. And what comes from that bottle? All the debris that blasts out of that bottle is going to be for our enjoyment. Salute to Wyndham Rotunda, Bray motherfucking Wyatt. And to L.A. Knight. Let me talk to you. Because that segment was fan-fucking-tastic. And that ended hour number 1 and went into hour number 2. And I cannot wait. I can't believe I'm saying this about pro wrestling again. It feels so good to say this. I can't wait to see what happens next. I need to see more out of this. Feels so good to say that, man. Hour number 2. We go with this is now. Unfortunately, we went back to some Vince McMahon type of booking here. This is Shotzi versus Shayna Baszler. Ronda Rousey is at ringside. It's a Shayna Baszler match, guys, which means that we can expect a 2-minute match ending with Baszler defeated by the fruit roll-up. I said this for the last whole year. That anytime Shayna's in the ring, she usually loses within 2 minutes, and it's usually by a roll-up. And that's no lie, guys. Baszler and Natty have been defeated more times by the fruit roll-up than anyone in WWE. Anybody. And I believe that's in history, too, that they've taken more roll-ups. My tried and true JR9 Gaming used to have the statistic for all their roll-ups just several months ago. And we laugh, but it's actually sad that every time there's a Baszler match, BC has to start it with, it's Baszler, it's probably going to end in 2 minutes, and it's most likely the finish will be a fruit roll-up. And like clockwork, every single time, that's exactly what happens. And it's not that BC is Nostradamus, or I'm a psychic, or I can read into the future. It's just a Shayna Baszler match. And it's so sadly redundant that we just know what's going to happen ahead of time. And when I saw Shayna Baszler in a match last night, I audibly, to myself, I said, 2 minutes, fruit roll-up. I called it. Like calling my shot, right? I'm waiting for the pitch. I put the bat over to left field. I'm putting it into the bleachers. I'm calling my shot. Man, I called my shot on this one. I said, Baszler. Sure enough. This was a little bit of a stunner to BC because the match actually went just under 4 minutes. And that's because Ronda did a little bit of interference, and then that brought out Raquel Rodriguez. I forgot what they switched it. I think it's Raquel Rodriguez now. She used to be Raquel Gonzalez. Let's just change everybody's fucking name. Anyway, Raquel comes down, and that's what prolonged the match to around 4 minutes. Otherwise, action-wise, it was just 2 minutes. And, you guessed it, the result was as expected. A VKM classic. Shotzi rolls Shayna Baszler up into the fruit roll-up. The awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up for the 1, 2, 3. Shayna Baszler is too weak to just get one shoulder just a centimeter off the mat. And Shayna Baszler loses via the fruit roll-up. I understand Shotzi has to win this match. She's going for the title next week at Survivor Series. But for anyone saying Vince ruined Baszler, Papa H would never have let this happen, Baszler. Baszler would be amazing under Paul Levesque. Allow me to introduce you. Allow me to show you Exhibit A, which was last night. Triple H. Same thing as Vinnie Mac, man. It's clear this company sees nothing in Shayna Baszler. That's sad. Whether you think she's a great talent, whether you think there's way too many individuals that are more skilled than her, you still can't do her dirty like this. This is somebody who came from an actual fight background. And you, the promoter, whether it's a VKM or an HHH, they keep having her lose in the most pathetic way imaginable. All the time. Not once in a blue moon. They just have this badass, real, fighting female lose via fruit roll-up. Whether it's Dana Brooke, Aaliyah, Shotzi, it doesn't matter. Roll up, roll up, roll up. She cannot get that shoulder a centimeter. She doesn't have enough energy or power or strength to get her shoulder just a centimeter off the mat. And it's never like she gets knocked out before and then rolled up or took some devastating move. She just gets rolled up out of nowhere and she can't get out of it. It's not just not believable. It's actually pathetic. And that was the one bad part of the entire show. And Triple H, just like Vince, he just doesn't know how to book his females. And that's weird because in NXT, he booked them incredibly, I thought. Didn't take that much work. They were so talented in NXT. But that was his staple. Paul Levesque was best at booking his women. And these days, he's lost. Lost, man. And it's literally, I can say this, literally no better than Vincent Kennedy. He brought some people back. They're still just as irrelevant. It's incredible. This company sees nothing in Shayna Baszler, and they just completely embarrass her to this day. Last night, she was embarrassed yet again. I'm guessing once Ronda loses the title, they're going to have Ronda and Shayna in a tag team. They'll get the championships, and they'll try to make a run out of it, I guess. Because they're already in a tag team around house shows. They've been a tag team. The only matches that Shayna's been winning has been because of a Ronda Rousey tag team. If you take the tag team victories out, do you guys realize that Shayna Baszler has basically lost her last 50 matches out of 50? Yeah, that's not good. I don't think you need BC to tell you that, man. Imperium with Gunther, or as Michael Cole calls him, Gunther. Goon. So he's a Gunther. I think I'm going to stick with Gunther. And Imperium as a whole take on Braun Strowman and the New Day. 6-man tag action. This is what I mean about the show flowed so good and BC was invested. When I'm talking about a 6-man tag highly, you know, man, like, it must have been a good flowing show. Because this was a fun 6-man tag. The Team Braun Day, let me just get this out of the way because this isn't the biggest topic for BC anyway coming out of this match. But Team Braun Day is what I'll call it. Defeated Imperium in under 5 minutes. Okay? Again, 6-man tag. It's a fucking 5-minute match. How the fuck is BC enjoying this? Well, allow me to tell you exactly what put me over the top in this match. Or my interest over the top anyway. The best part was the interaction between Gunther and Strowman. It was just fun, bro. Like, Gunther... and this upset a lot of people, I'm sure, because it's Gunther, and people just don't like Braun Strowman. They just have a beef with Strowman. So, Gunther was running away from his Strowman at one point. First of all, Gunther's a heel. Heels can always do a little bit of running away. This is why I still don't know what Seth Rollins is. Seth Rollins, like, starts a fucking beef with people, and then he just runs away the last 2 weeks. And then I got people telling me he's a fucking face. Okay, that might be on paper. He doesn't come across as a face. He's running away. That's what heels do. And Braun Strowman towers over Gunther. It's believable that Gunther wants no fucking piece of this motherfucker right now. Gunther doesn't lose too much. Relax. Gunther's still a fucking powerhouse. I like the fact that he knew he chopped the shit out of Braun so hard that he just awoke an entire fucking train set. A fucking one of those train units that has like 12 different carts. The whole fucking thing stood up like a transformer. And Gunther's like, oh, fuck. And Gunther runs out a little bit. And you could say that Gunther was trying to set him up in a trap because Imperium was waiting for him. But choo-choo, chugga-chugga, Braun Strowman just ran through Imperium. But whether you like the runaway thing or not, you don't think Gunther should be running or whatever. The interaction they had was top-notch, man. That was fun. I never knew I needed or wanted to see Gunther versus Strowman until last night. Where Gunther is laying in those fucking mega chops. And Strowman, I mean, you could tell he's feeling that shit. He laid into that chest. And I honestly don't think that Strowman has ever been chopped that fucking hard before. I'm pretty sure the way he was taking those chops, I mean, he was feeling that shit. He needed to turn away for a second and feel that shit. This beast of a fucking man is not used to that. And when Braun gained the upper hand and went to put him in that fucking powerbomb, you can see, as much as we love Gunther, Braun had to tell him, dude, now, like, you got to get out now. Like, Gunther missed his cue, and you could see Braun on TV. Braun's like, now. What the fuck are you doing, man? I'm holding you here for fucking 10 seconds. People are going to wonder why I'm not powerbombing you yet. So he helped Gunther along the way, too. So much props to Braun Strowman. A lot of people would get pissed in that situation. Braun is just like, nah, buddy, come on. And Gunther remembered what he had to do. But the interaction between those two, I mean, that could be and would be a fun match. I know, if you didn't see SmackDown, you're just kind of like, BC. Braun Strowman Gunther IC title. Braun and Gunther in a match, BC. That's supposed to captivate me. All I'm saying is last night it was done beautifully, I felt. It was interesting, and BC was like, more of that, please. You don't have to agree. You may not have liked anything about it. You don't want to see them ever again in the ring together. That's fine. I ask that you at least be happy for BC if we get it, because I do want to see it. I think that's a damn good match, man. And it's clear that there's that chemistry there. It's clear that it would at least be fun, if nothing else. The main event, again, post-match, Braun went to the back. Kayla Braxton, the ever-so-beautiful Kayla Braxton, interviewed Braun. Braun's coughing up a fucking lung. Ricochet comes in, says, you keep looking past us flippity-dippity divers, but you might get caught off guard. I'm going to beat you next week in the tournament final. Braun Strowman's like, yeah, all right, buddy. So the winner of that match will go on to take on Gunther. It looks like it's going to be Braun. Gunther versus Ricochet could be fun, too, because just like Rey Mysterio, Gunther, you know Gunther's going to win, and Rey Mysterio needs to be fucking thrown around the ring like a lawn dart. I mean, we respect Rey, but the whole point of Gunther versus Rey is David versus Goliath, right? David is going to give it his all, give all the heart that he has, but Goliath is going to fucking destroy this motherfucker. It's the same thing with Ricochet. I don't mind that story being told, but at this point, Braun versus Gunther interests me much more. So yes, I'll be the odd man out on this. I choose Braun to get Braun and Gunther. The main event was Sami Zayn versus Brawling Brutes Butch. Zayn versus Butch. An Ucey member, Team Ucey versus Team Brutey. This is a World Cup tourney match. So yeah, so how's that go? Strowman's taking on Ricochet, and then the winner of Sami Zayn and Butch takes on the other half of the bracket, I guess, and then they take on each other. I don't even I hate tournaments. I told you, I'm already confused. Either way, I think Braun needs to fucking go against Gunther at this point, because that captivates BC more than any other of these dudes. But this main event, Zayn versus Butch, this was a 7-minute match, 7-minute main event. Butch defeats Zayn via pinfall. Gotta be honest with you, man. Can we, before I keep going, and I'll go over to everything that happened, Roman comes out of nowhere, not being advertised and all that, but a little heart-to-heart here, man, a little conversation. I've gotten the feeling the last couple of weeks that Triple H is trying to stuff Sami Zayn underneath the rug a little bit. Just like Vince never wanted certain people to get over, and I know you say, well, Sami is one of Triple H's boys, BC. He was pretty quick to give Vince McMahon Sami Zayn. Not as quick as he gave Theory to McMahon, but he was quick to give Zayn over. See, we don't know how much of a boy he is with H. I will say this. The last couple of weeks, ever since he was on Cloud 9 with this whole Ucey shit, and they should have really been pushing it and pressing it and saying it more and keeping Sami Zayn's name in everybody's mouth, I feel like they really dropped the ball and they went out of their way to not recognize Sami Zayn. It didn't help that they were going to Crown Jewel, and Zayn just does not go to Crown Jewel. Can't. So that did not help. But it's almost like every single time you would think that they can incorporate Zayn's name and the Ucey was being talked about, they covered it up real quick. Last week, he's just totally off of television. So after Crown Jewel, he's not there. Bloodline shows up to Raw. No Sami. I'm not saying there maybe it wasn't a personal issue or something like that. But even the talk, they would say it once and then they would just be done with it. And then all of a sudden, he just comes out at the beginning of the show and he just tells everybody that, yeah, they're feeling Ucey and we don't care who the fifth member is. We're going to beat you. And he leaves. And the crowd's kind of like, oh, that's what we were waiting for Sami for? And then here in the main event, a 7-minute match, and he just loses flat on his back looking up at the lights to Butch. It's weird. Now, I'm not saying that he can't get fucking all the titles in the world in 2 months, right? BC, you were saying what? What I am saying is the last 2 weeks, even though they went to Crown Jewel 2 weeks ago, they could have really utilized and pushed to the forefront this whole Sami Zayn Ucey momentum that they had. I'm not saying Ucey us into a fucking early grave. I'm just saying they could have done a lot more with it. I really feel this was like a Tony Khan thing where somebody has all the momentum and they kind of get pushed to the back burner. This was not Sami Zayn's best night, booking-wise. Not even close. And being gone for 2 weeks, you thought they were going to have something huge in store. His best moment is thankfully because his buddy Kevin Owens came back and they had a face-to-face. That's the best moment that Zayn had last night. And since that whole Ucey segment a few weeks ago, Sami Zayn's been the talk of the town, or was. This past week, it started to slow down. That's all. That's my heart-to-heart, guys. I'm just asking, like, could we be utilizing Sami Zayn and mentioning him a little bit more and better to help the momentum that he had? It's rhetorical. It's, of course. I was thinking about this 2 weeks ago, last week, and then last night I was like, damn, he just lost simplistically. Post-match, everyone begins to brawl. Roman Reigns' music hits, and the reaction is explosive. Again, not advertised, so even BC didn't think he was in the building. And the music hits, and I'm like, nah, it's going to be he's not actually there, man. It's a fucking swerve. And there he is. Crowd pops, they erupt, and then they whip out their cell phones. They're in awe. Everyone wants to grasp this piece of wrestling elite that's coming down. Even Roman, go back and check it out. Roman actually got, he was focused on who he was going to Superman punch. There was a moment where his eyes went to the crowd because he heard the eruption. Like, oh, he's used to like a little erupt and then, okay, it slows down. People were so fucking happy to see this dude. He looked to the crowd like, what the fuck? Superman punch. They start fucking brawling. He's pretty much owning the show at that point. He controls the room until Kevin Owens' music hits. Owens comes down to the ring. He reveals himself as the 5th member of Team Brutey. And epic stare down between him and Roman. Now, yeah, we've seen the match in the past, obviously. I don't think anyone's clamoring to see the match, but the way that they just kickstarted this, if they do want to go that match again with this variation, this type of a Roman, and this new revitalized Kevin Owens, yeah, that's something absolutely I'll sign up for. And you have this stare down between the two. Sami Zayn gets into the ring. I think Owens took out Roman for the time being, turned around, and he's having a stare down with Zayn, these two former best friends. And still kind of really good friends. Zayn is questioning Owens' motives. Owens is looking at Zayn like, dude, you have the same opportunity to leave this shit. I tried to tell you this. And before they can come up to any resolution, bam, out of nowhere, Superman punch by Roman. And Sami Zayn is then taken out by Ridge Holland. They start more brawling on the outside. And Roman goes for a Superman punch. Kevin Owens is able to kick him in his dome piece and deliver a stunner. Roman sells it beautifully, drips to the fucking outside, holding his fucking neck under his chin like he just got fucked up from that stunner. And the Brawling Bruties with Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, and the Brooch, Sheamus, Holland, Butch, they all are kind of hung over the top rope, looking down at the heels that are kind of just been fucked up. And they're all gloating, and that's the final visual that we get is Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Holland, Butch, Sheamus, all looking down at the heels as we fade to black. I just thought the whole segment was so beautifully done. Roman Reigns, not really advertised, but man, did he add that boost to the show at the right moment. Owens reveals himself. Owens and Roman with what the momentum that they're fucking with these days, looking at each other, and you're just like, damn, business just picked up again in the same show. JR is like, damn, business has picked up. Jerry, business has picked up. Puppies! No, Jerry, different business. If you watch during the Attitude, you know what I'm talking about. Puppies! But business picked up, man. And then you do have the variation with Zayn and Owens, which should be fun going into next week. And I hope they did. It's just Sami feels more important next week. And I think he will with the Owens insertion. And that was the show. I just, man, there's so much good for BC on this, man. I just, a lot of it just, the match between Ali and Ricochet filled my appetite for the wrestling itself. Gunther and Braun in that 6-man tag was the fun that I also wanted in my wrestling, because damn, that could lead to such a good feud storyline. But just them two in the ring, like I said about Sheamus and Gunther, the physicality, the chemistry is probably going to be top notch. They're just going to do so much realistic, fun shit in that ring, man, that you would see two beasts do. It's just something different than what we see today. So wrestling-wise, I had my fix. I didn't need to see a 25-minute banger to get my fix on the wrestling. Storyline-wise, I mean, Survivor Series just picked up the little side story with Zayn and Owens, but also this newfound fucking animosity between Roman and Owens now after that stare down. Bray Wyatt and L.A. Knight, you gotta see what the fuck happens next with those two. It's just one of those things where I just thought the whole show just flowed, man. And there was a lot of just BC was interested. Like, I actually want to see what happens next. It wasn't a chore to get through this show. And usually we say SmackDown's better than Raw, but it's still it just feels like an eternity to get through the shows. It just does. Even SmackDowns. Most of them. Last night went by fast. I wanted more. That's when you know you had a good show. So that's what I got for you guys, man. Well over an hour, obviously. But I just had a lot to talk about. I had to give my flowers out. I had to send those flowers out to several individuals. I had to express my praise. And I hope everybody that says, oh, BC's never positive, this is one of those things where you can shine that shit up real nice, stick it sideways, and shove it up your... What's that? Sasha told me to ex-nay that. Sasha told me no, BC. BC! If Sasha was mic'd up, you'd hear an expletive, actually. It's the real word that was used. Alright, guys. That's what I got for you, man. Tonight, AEW Full Gear. I hope to have some type of review. I'm going to be out most of the entire day, actually, tomorrow. So I don't know how I'm going to do this. Even if it's audio format, if it's got to be a little shorter, I don't know. But I hope to talk AEW Full Gear with you guys within the next 24 hours. So just be on the lookout for the channel, all right? Till next time, guys. Coffees and ass whoopings, you know that. Think, be, live, amplified, you know that. Crush the motherfucking day, crush the weekend, you know that. And you also know Top Guy, and I am out. BC saying check you. Sasha, hit that fucking music.